What is up? What is going on? And how are you doing? Seems a whole lot of people are awfully salty about Bryankohberger getting a fair trial. So let's talk about it. So they had a hearing the other day, and his defense team goes in front of the judge and makes the case for more evidence that the state is holding. Now, people seem to be in uproar about this thing, but I do got some thoughts on it. So they weren't asking for every single police officer's information, training records, credentials, and who they interviewed. They asked for a specific set number because those officers gave information that led to the arrest affidavit. So it should be pertinent to this case for them to have that information. Now, other people on here in the news, are saying it is ridiculous to ask for training certificates, school information, things of that nature. But what I need y'all to understand is they have these schools, they have this training because there are specific guidelines and procedures and standards that these officers need to follow. And it is supposed to reflect the law. Because if they're not following the procedures they're supposed to follow, then the stuff that they are putting forth as evidence, you could question it. So in terms of the training certificates, it shouldn't be a problem. The state should willingly give those. And his defense did state that she has requested information like that before, and it has been provided. So it doesn't seem like this is a process where they're intentionally trying to delay this trial or look for other names that they can point the finger to, even though that might be a strategy they use. And honestly, just my own personal thought, it may be a strategy I would take because the state of Idaho has spoken. They have said, look, this is our guy. This is the evidence we have, and this is the reason why we believe he did it. Judges had looked at it. Judges had said, okay, that's enough to move forward. They all got checks and balances here. So the defense is going to have to do something. The state's not going to continue investigating this. They believe they have their guy. The defense's job is to say, no, you don't. So they need to view everything that the state has, and they should have a right to it because they are using it to accuse, their client, and he has the right to defend himself. That, in all seriousness, apparently is a big controversy. And I really didn't think it was. It's a constitutional right to a fair trial. Moving on with that though, so getting those certificates, that information for training is vital. There was some information that the FBI put out that they were asking for. That evidence has not been brought over to the defense. If I heard correctly, the state was saying they didn't have access to it either. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be one, and I've never played one on TV. And if somebody knows a lawyer, they can ask them. But I would assume the judge can say, okay, I understand nobody has access to this particular piece of evidence that the state is using to accuse the defendant of a crime. So I would assume he could set a timeline to that and say, okay, well, you've got until this day. And if it isn't brought in, then I'm sure there is a policy and a procedure that Bryankohberger is allowed to either extend the trial until that is received, or the judge can say, look, we've had enough. Nobody can use this evidence in court now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm very curious on that one as well. I do gotta say a couple things. Did y'all see the recorder in the court? The face that lady gave, that is the exact face a mother gives her child when they drank all the milk and didn't tell nobody. But honestly, I don't mean to make fun of that poor lady. She looks like she can make a mean oatmeal cookie. So I can say one thing now: the judge's statements during the opening of this proceeding, he did make reference that they're going to allow cameras, and I really hope they continue to allow cameras. And him making the statement, we're not just going to focus on the defendant, and every time the defendant walks in, the cameras is going to be focused on him. We can look at the court as a whole. And I hope these people abide by that. He made reference to the Lori Vallow, David. I didn't follow that one. Horrendous story. Honestly, it wasn't sitting in my stomach to even watch it. What happened, God rest the soul of those poor children. But I did notice every time there was an incident or a situation that would have been upsetting for, Lori Daybell, they all zoomed in on her. It was the focus of conversations, videos posted, Lori's body language, look at her face while this evidence was being read. That's sickening. It's sickening what has happened, but also if you look at, say, the Murdaugh trial in South Carolina, you really saw a wide range of views. They didn't necessarily focus on any one person in particular. And yeah, there's a lawnmower. People cut grass around here. I'm good with it. I'm on allergy medicine, and that's pretty damn awesome because of America. Alright? So I do hope that these people, they follow, the judge's wishes. It seems like he's trying to do his best to ensure that everybody has a fair, legal trial. So when this thing is done, there is no doubt as to who did it or who didn't do it, whatever is decided. I hope they follow those rules. And I hope that, like I said in that previous video, I hope they find a jury that isn't swayed one way or the other. I honestly don't know which is worse. An innocent man going to prison for a crime he didn't commit, or somebody who committed a crime like that and they're walking the streets while somebody is sitting, in prison. It's not up to us to decide. We don't live there. We're not a part of that community. I can promise you 100%, not me or you will be called to sit in front of this jury. And we shouldn't. We don't have a right to be. But I hope they respect the wishes of this judge. I hope they respect what he said about cameras. And I hope that this is a trial we get to view so that we can see for ourselves and ultimately put this thing to bed, and hopefully the family can get the justice, they deserve, or, Bryan Kohberger can be exonerated of these charges, whatever happens. It's not our call. Y'all can choose to believe what you want to believe. I encourage y'all to continue to make those comments in these videos stating what you believe. I want everybody here who comes to this video, be respectful, make your statement, and nobody attack them over it, regardless of what it is. I've been called an idiot probably 20, 30, 40 times, and I'm good with it. I'm fine. Everybody's got different views. But we all want the same thing. We want the correct person to sit in jail for the rest of their life. I mean, if it was one of my family members, I would personally want it, but that's between the state. And I assume he reached out to the family member saying, hey, this is what I would like to do. How do you feel about it? And I would hope that he took the family's wishes into consideration. I do have some thoughts about them going for the DP. I'm gonna have to do that video at another time. I do appreciate what time you gave me, and I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Y'all have a good one.